Escaping the Western destroyed cultured women by going to overseas, by going to Latin America, by going to some parts of Eastern Europe, by going to Asia. Yes, it's true. The women in those places, you will immediately notice they are more feminine. They are more, let's say, Latin America. The moment you land in places like Buenos Aires, Argentina, or Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, Brazil, even some places in South America, you will quickly, Central America, you will quickly notice the women are much more in tune with their femininity. They're much more focused on their appearance, wearing very sexy, enticing, feminine, revealing clothes, behaving, in a feminine way, expecting the man to take the lead, and subservient in a way to men, and willing to do whatever the man wants on the surface. Those are all true within also Eastern Europe, where some countries are really disadvantaged financially. Places like Romania, Bulgaria, Moldova, these countries, people are in very much lower economic status, and women even lesser so. And same in Asian countries, of course. Southeast Asian countries. I'm not talking about Japan and South Korea, obviously. I'm talking about places like Vietnam and Thailand and parts of Indonesia and Cambodia and Laos and places like that. Yes, those are all true. You will see a noticeable and a marked difference when you travel from places like Canada and England and the United States, and to these places. You will be delighted with how feminine women are. You'll be, it's like a breath of fresh air when you see how much more feminine, how much more attractive, how much more well-dressed. They, form-fitting clothes, and thinner. They are in better shape. They are not fat. Even though they have kids, they are in great shape. They're like equivalent of a 20-year-old in the US when they are in their 40s. They are simply thin and in better shape, more attractive, more enticing, more enjoyable to be with, more enjoyable to make love to. Unless you're into Rubenesque women. But continuing on my last video, don't ever make the mistake of thinking that you could take one of those and transplant them in your own Western country, where people are, as always, it's a general rule that people are a product of their surroundings. Don't think that you can bring them here and they will be the way they were where you met them. Of course not. They will quickly, and more quickly than the locals, will adapt and take actually extra advantage of the laws of the West and use them against you in a way that you won't know what hit you. And I felt the need to make another video stressing this, because I didn't want there to be a confusion as to the fact that, yes, they are, of course, more feminine, more enjoyable, and more desirable to look at, and everything else. But the nature of the woman is the same. And I will explain to you why it is different overseas, and many may disagree. But a behavior of a woman is determined greatly, I'd say 95%, by her economic status, economic opportunities, and finances. Meaning, the reason these women are, I'm not talking about the femininity and their appearance and the way they wear clothes and how they are thin and everything, but the way they behave towards a man, and the way they let the man take the lead, the way they treat a man, the way they interact with a man, it is 100% for the reason of finances and economic opportunities. Because women, no matter where they're from, as far as they're on this planet Earth, they are motivated by finances and security. Security is most important to women. To have a secure home where she has a roof over her head and the promise of future financial security for her and her kids. Nothing else is more important to her, unless she's mentally disturbed. Don't ever think otherwise. And all these misleading coaches who tell you that you have to act alpha and you have to take the lead and you have to be on your mission. Yeah, all of those is true. But if you're broke, none of those will matter. Yeah, she'll admire you for being strong and everything, but she says, yeah, well, I gotta go, sorry. Because first and foremost, the foundation is financial security. If you have that, you're already, solid in her eyes. The rest goes from there. That's why you see women stay with men that are extremely mousy, pushover, pathetic, disgusting, and weak, but they have money. Because they have the main ingredient that she's looking for. I always use that Uber example. You order a car to go to the airport, and of course you prefer it to be a brand new, shiny, Mercedes or Rolls Royce or whatever. But because you need to go to the airport and you need to catch that flight, if a beat up old car comes and you got, you're pressed for time, are you going to refuse it? Are you going to say, I'm not going to get into it? No, you'll take the car because that is your main purpose. A woman's main purpose is financial security. And in those countries where there's such divorce laws, such archaic rules about how much a man needs to pay a woman and everything don't exist, the women are on their best behavior at all times because otherwise they won't eat and their children won't eat. So they say yes to whatever you say. Or the next guy, if they can get it, that has money. So do not confuse nature of women with her geographical placement. To recap, all of those things about the women in South America, certain parts of Asia, certain parts of Europe, even certain parts of Western Europe, being much more feminine, much more attractive, much more pleasant to deal with, much more enjoyable to look at because they're thinner and they're in better shape. They dress better. But don't think, I was even in Mongolia and I was impressed by the way the women looked. Mongolia, how many people have been there? How many people even go there as a tourist? I was in a shopping mall at Mongolia just before the pandemic, and I was floored by how attractive the women dressed, how they looked. They say Mongolians are the most attractive Asians. I'm not going to argue. They are very attractive, and some of them in the northern part mixed with Russians, they even look even better. But that's another video for another time, another story. Never forget, nature of women is the same. Yes, depending on where they are and the environment that they grew up in, the way they behave and they look will be different, of course. But finances is the biggest determinant in their behavior. The reason they are subservient, the reason they are nicer to you, the reason they say yes to whatever you say when you go to countries like Cambodia and Thailand and those places is because of money, nothing else, money. That's why you would rarely see a woman, for example, in Thailand, coming from a wealthy family, dating a foreigner. Actually, I heard they avoid them like the plague because being seen with a foreigner in Thailand, if you're a local, makes people think that you're a prostitute or that you're a poor girl that are with an older man for your father's age for money. You'll see the ones that have money come with the locals. That's why most of if you go to places like, for example, Thailand, most of the foreigners that you see are girls that came from the villages, dirt poor, opportunistic girls that come to the big cities exactly for that purpose, to meet men with money because they are penniless. They're hoping for some sucker who buys their story about not having any money and the family cow being sick and the father being in the hospital and no longer able to work, the sob story that they usually give. The foreigners who are there for 2-week millionaires who are there, and the guy falls for it because she keeps calling an old guy who's been ignored all his life by women handsome. Hey, handsome man. Hey, handsome man. Massages him and everything, and treats him, washes his feet, and treats him like he's the 20-year-old Alain Delon from France. So he lets it go to his head, and not only he spends a bunch of money on her, takes her for jewelry shopping, but when he goes back home, he's still sending her money while she's busy with the next tourist, a 2-week millionaire tourist that's there. Same girl sometimes has multiple boys, men from their own countries sending her money every month. So, oh, if you send me money, then I won't work in the bar anymore. I won't be a prostitute anymore. And they all fall for it because they're so desperate and gullible, and they want to believe. They want to believe the lie. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Be wise. Find out the real reason someone is behaving the way they are behaving. It's not you. It's always the offer on the table. Always the offer on the table. Always the money. God be with you. All the best.